What's going on, everyone? It's Bowles, and welcome back to another Manchester United match review today. Another great performance by the boys today. A 3-0 win over Brighton away from home. Before I get into all of the match reaction, make sure if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure you like the videos. Turn notifications on so you don't miss any other content, and make sure you go follow all my socials in the links down below in the description. So, very, very good performance by Manchester United today. That first half by Manchester United was probably one of the most complete halves I've seen from them in quite some time. I'm not saying it was the most complete half. I'm saying it was one of the most complete halves. It was very, very good performance from back to front. All of the players on the pitch performed really, really well at a high level. And everyone got involved, which is good to see. Sometimes you have games where maybe a Dan James or a Mason Greenwood or a Rashford or something might not necessarily be I don't know what's come up like that, but I don't. Sometimes they don't necessarily get involved as much, but everyone got involved today. Everyone was a part of the action, and it was really good to see an all-round performance. That's what the word I was trying to look for. Geez, I was trying to look for the words. It's currently nearly 7 a.m, so a bit early in the morning for me here in Australia, but it's good stuff. There you go. So as I said, very important win. We need to stay in touch with Chelsea. We're now 2 points behind Chelsea now and 3 points behind Leicester, but they both have a game in hand. The good thing is we play Leicester on the final day of the season, so you never know. That might come down to that game if we make the top 4 or not. Obviously, as we've known before, Manchester City's ban will determine whether or not we will see if we'll get Champions League football or not, or if there'll be an extra spot open. I still think we can get all the way up to 3rd. I think we can pass Chelsea. I think we can pass Leicester. It'll be interesting to see exactly how that all plays out, but we'll see what happens. I think Leicester got a couple of hard games. Well, I think Chelsea got a couple of tough games. Well, I think Chelsea still got Liverpool to play, so we might be able to catch them. We could catch Leicester as well, but we need to make sure that we keep building this momentum. I think that's now 15 wins in a row, and I think 11 of them have been clean sheets, which is another important thing. Obviously, if the defense is doing their job, then the attack's just going to naturally pretty much do the job themselves, and the midfield's going to thrive off that as well. So, yes, very, very, very happy. Probably this is not the most confident, not the right word, but it's probably the best I've felt since Sir Alex left, because we've had obviously Me United have had a lot of manager turnover and a lot of poor performances and underperforming, but we're finally starting to see we're not title challengers yet. I think with the 11 we've got, we could be, but the squad you could see in the last 20 minutes was still a little bit under par. A few of the guys coming on were just not quite the level of like your Brunos and your Pogbas and your Rashfords and Martials and stuff like that. But I think we need to just strengthen the squad. But you can see they're building something. We're building something as a club, which is really good. We got a lot of good young talent coming through. Hopefully, we can maybe sign Jadon Sancho and maybe a Jack Grealish and a couple of those players to even improve the squad even more. And then hopefully we can not guarantee ourselves, but hopefully lock ourselves into the top 4 of the next few years. And then hopefully after that, maybe challenge for the title and in top 2s and stuff like that, maybe in a couple of years. Maybe not. We could do it next year. We could do it the year after. But I think maybe 2 years' time, I think, not next season, maybe the season after is probably when we'll start. Because you might have like a Sancho and a Grealish, you may have a couple of other players as well to add to that team. So, yes, very, very happy. And we are going to go through the player ratings. This won't be too long of a match reaction video. It's quite early in the morning. Haven't gone to sleep, so I'll go to sleep once I've done this. But let's get through the player rating. So, I was going to give Dahara a 7, but with some of the saves he made late in there, I think I've got to bump up to an 8. So I give Dahara an 8 today. Performed well. Didn't have anything to do in the first probably 50, 60 minutes. And then obviously we subbed a couple of our better players off. Brighton sort of started to come out of parking the bus and started to go forward, which naturally was going to happen anyway, just when we subbed off a few of our better players. And yeah, so Dahara performed well especially the last half an hour. As I said, made a couple of good saves, if I can get my words out. So give him an 8. Wan-Bissaka, I'll give an 8 as well. Got the assist for Greenwood's goal. You can probably more say that was a lot more of Greenwood's skill than more Aaron Wan-Bissaka's pass. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka was very, very good today. Nothing got past him. I can't remember anyone beating him. I think there was one where it went out for a corner where it came off him, but he still won the tackle and still got it out of play and didn't allow a cross to come in. He's had the most tackles in the Premier League of any defender this season, it doesn't surprise me because he's such a great defender. I've said before, I think he's probably the best defensive wing back in world football, and probably in the top 5 defenders in the world, to be honest. In terms of defensive capabilities, because he's just got such long legs and no one gets past him. Like, there was a ball that came over from, might have been Matic, and it came right over and he just stopped it in, and it's ridiculous. He's got such long legs, such a good player, and I give him an 8 for there. Maguire as well, give him an 8. Very, very commanding defender. And I think it's obviously the right choice making captain. He just seems to thrive off of it. I think they said on the broadcast as well that he finds the players that don't attend, or they find the players that don't attend like player bonding sessions, like if they go out somewhere or whatever. So it just shows what a true captain he is, and he's such a physical presence in the box, either whether it be in our defensive box or in our attacking defensive third or attacking third, I should say. Geez, can't get words out. Still can't do it properly. But yeah, just very commanding defender, and he was unlucky, really a bit unlucky to not score a goal in the first half with that header that went across the box. But there you go, didn't score the goal, but an 8 for me. Lindelof, I'll give him a 7, but it could quite easily be an 8 as well, because he played really, really well. Actually, no, I will give him an 8. I'm not going to be negative, so I'm going to be happy because it's a very, very good performance. I give Lindelof an 8 as well. Very, very. He just partnered Maguire very, very well today. The only question I have with him is there is some games where he does struggle against the bigger teams, against the lot more nimble guys like Aguero and Aubameyang and guys like that. And I think maybe that where we could strengthen up, and I think Lindelof will be an amazing centre back, as in to come in for these games where you got to distribute the ball when you're on. You've got the team backing up and parking the bus. I think he's quite good with that, because you saw a couple of runs he made where he bursted forward, and you'd have Matic would slide in at centre back, and then you'd have Lindelof essentially playing as a CDM but bursting forward, making runs. I saw a couple of them in the first half, and then obviously it'd come back and Matic would go back in the midfield. But yeah, I think that we're not going to get Koulibaly. Obviously, I think he'll go to Man City. It looks like now he would have been one I would have looked at. Maybe a Kanate or something like that from Leipzig would be good as well to get, and then have like a back, like 4 centre backs, a lot Maguire, Lindelof, Kanate or something, and Tuanzebe, and then maybe keep one of Smalling or probably buy because you can probably get more money for Smalling, but either one you could keep. And there you go. So moving on to Luke Shaw, I give Luke Shaw an 8 as well. Again, very much like Wan-Bissaka, just very, very solid defensively. Again, I didn't remember anyone actually getting past Shaw or getting through on goal behind Shaw. He's just very, very good defensively, as I said. I think that Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka are better defensively than what Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are. I think Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are better going forward. And I think you saw today, I should have mentioned with Wan-Bissaka as well, you saw him just a lot of the step overs he did, cut inside, cut to the byline, crossing it in. He's really starting to improve in that area. And if he continues to do that, he'll be a very, very good player for Manchester United for years to come. And same with Luke Shaw as well. He made a very good run, and obviously his ball crossing it was the one that set up the second goal. Well, he didn't set up the second goal, but it started sort of the build-up play towards the second goal. I do think Mason Greenwood was out in that play there, but what can you do? Sometimes decisions go your way, and sometimes they don't. And for Brighton today, it didn't go their way in terms of that decision. So, as I said, Shaw gets an 8 from me. Move on to midfield. Matic, I give an 8 as well. Matic is very, very solid today. I like the fact he tried some long cross the field balls instead of just sort of short little passes sideways. Very, very good performance by him. I was sort of written him off probably when we were in a rut, when we lost to Burnley's and Newcastle. And I just thought he's not good enough. He's too slow. He just hasn't got it. And I don't necessarily think he's the answer for long term, obviously, but he's playing very, very well at the moment. I think he's in the best 11 at the moment. I think he's obviously forced his way into the side and pushed McTominay to the bench, but that's good. I like having squad competition that makes players better. If you've got a guy on the bench that's chomping at the bit to come in and take your position, you're going to naturally play better. You saw that with Luke Shaw. Had a couple of down performances. Brandon Williams came in, then Luke Shaw came back, and you just saw the competition. And Shaw is now playing so much better, which is good to see. And then Brandon Williams is a very good prospect as well. But yeah, Matic has done the same thing when McTominay and that was starting, and he was able to come in and perform, and he's playing really well at the moment. And same can be said for Pogba next to him. He's come back. He looks like he hasn't missed really a beat. He looks super cool on the ball, and he's not doing any more of those. Like when he first came United, if you guys remember, he did a lot of those like skill moves and would lose the ball cheaply. The skill moves he chooses to do now and gets past players, he gets past them. He doesn't generally lose. I can't remember the last time he like lost a ball trying something like that. Like he's very, very composed now, a lot better than what he was. And I think the partnership with him and Bruno is very, very good. And that could be what keeps him at Manchester United. He hasn't necessarily come out in the public and said it, but he's essentially been saying he wants better players around him. We've got better players around him now. We're going to continue to improve. And like Juventus on Arta from Barcelona. So I think that rules out Pogba going to Juventus now, for the time being anyway. So really it's Madrid, and that's it. But I don't really think Madrid are in for him at the moment, especially in this climate. So I think he'll stay at Man United. I hope he signs a contract, so then he doesn't leave for very cheap at the end of next season. I'd like him to sign a contract, and then hopefully he stays long term. But if not, then what can you do? That's unfortunately the way that the world of football goes, and the world of football we live in. Marcus Rashford, I'll give him probably a 7, because the only reason I give him a 7's still very, very good. Let's not forget. So getting a 5 is average, and anything above that is good. 7's very, very good. He just a few of his shots obviously just weren't quite on the mark. He got into good positions, but just didn't quite do enough. He's performed very well this season. He's got his most productive season in the Premier League this year. I think in his last 15 games, he's got 11 goals and 5 assists or something. Or his last 16 games or something like that. He's got at least a contribution every game, or averaging a contribution a game. So just today was just one of his not as good performances, but he still performed well. He still contributed in a way. As I said, everyone contributed well across the board, and just all around good performance. Anthony Martial, probably the same, you could say. I'd probably give him 8 though, because his decoy run set up Bruno Fernandes' second goal, because he drew the defenders, which allowed Mason Greenwood's cross to go over the top and then for Bruno to volley it in. And did a lot of good stuff off the ball. So it wasn't his day scoring like it was against Sheffield United where he got his hat-trick, but today was his day where it was a lot of the build-up play, getting involved, the 1-2 passes, putting in almost getting the assist to the assist essentially, and just helping with the build-up play. So that was good from him. I've always had faith in Martial, and he's really starting to show it in the last few games of what a player he can be for Manchester United, and what a lethal front three we could have if we don't get Sancho, of Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford. Hopefully we get Sancho, and then you can have Greenwood in, maybe coming in for a game here or there, coming off the bench, impacting, and then just rotating, and again creating that squad competition like I was talking about earlier. So very good game from Martial. I would give him an 8, I think. But a good game in terms of not scoring, in terms of his build-up play and work off the ball. But I'll give him an 8. And this is where the tough decision comes. Greenwood and Bruno both get 9 from me, but I still don't quite know who I want to give my man a match to. I would love to give it to Mason, because I think that was his best game he's played for us. I think he scored better goals, but I think that was his best all-round performance from us today. Bruno obviously scored twice. He's the catalyst for what's happened with the team just lifting. He's almost like glued everything together, and he's the main reason why we are playing so well at the moment, because he's come in and he's just that work ethic that he's got off the ball, his passing. I know he turns the ball over sometimes. I said in the last match reaction, if you haven't watched that, make sure you go check it out. I said that he does turn the ball over a little bit too much, but I'd rather him turn the ball over trying to do something than just be boring, maybe like a Lingard or a Pereira, where we're just like not quite getting involved in the game and just not trying enough. Whereas Bruno's trying stuff, and a lot of the time it's coming off at the moment, but sometimes a pass might not come off. But I'd rather you do that and try and create something than just sit back and just not do anything. So I give him a 9, as I said. And then Greenwood, as I said, was just all-round performance. You'd probably still have to give it to Bruno. I think scoring 2 goals from midfield was very good, but I can certainly see a case where someone would give it for Mason. A lot of me wants to give it to Mason because Bruno's got so many man-of-the-match performances since he's been at Manchester United. He's got almost every game he's played in the Premier League, he's got a man of the match award. So that's why part of me wants to give it to Mason. But it's almost like a duel. I could give it to both of them, man of the match. You couldn't split it. I think you'd probably just give it to Bruno because he scored 2 goals. If that goal had been Bruno assisting Mason, probably would have gone the other way. I would have given it to Mason. But I think you just give it to Bruno, I think. But yeah, a lot of props to Mason Greenwood. And then off the bench, we had McTominay, Pereira, Brandon Williams, Odi Nagala, and Dan James. They all get a 6 above, just above average, I guess. You could give them a 5 if we didn't play as well, but I just give them a 6. Just a bit of a morale boost from me, mate. They'll be watching this, so there you go. Chat's not working on my computer, but Cammy Aitken goalkeeping, very enjoyable game. Can see Manchester United is going in the right direction recently. Hope it stays like that. Yes, Cammy, I really hope it does stay like that, man. You can see us slowly improving. Obviously, we're with Sir Alex, we won the title, then he retired, and then we sort of went downhill from there. And then we went with Mourinho, won the Europa League, came second. That was a good scene. Then we just went a bit downhill from there. Then Ollie came in, honeymoon period. I said we shouldn't have given him the contract when he first came in. I think we should have always waited to the end of the season. We had a down patch. But I'm glad Ollie's here. He's doing well. He's implementing his ideas that he obviously from himself and that he got from Sir Alex, being a coach and a player under Sir Alex. And you can just see that they're starting to click. They're starting to all gel together, and they're all performing really well. So yeah, Cammy, I do think Manchester United are on the rise. As I said, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a title challenge within the next year or two, but I think we're going to be in the way we're going. We're looking like we're going to be in the top 4, which is very good and positive to see. In terms of our next matchup, we have. This is another thing I should have checked before we came on. But I'm going to have a look at who we've got in our next matchup. If this loads, let's have a look. So there we go. We have Bournemouth at home. So you would like to think we're going to get a good result from there and get the win there. And then we've got Villa, Southampton, Crystal Palace, Chelsea in the FA Cup, then West Ham and Leicester. So our only real difficult game, I think, is the Leicester game. And maybe Palace away because they're quite good at home. But yeah, I think hopefully we can pick up all the points. Hopefully Chelsea and Leicester drop some points along the way. Cammy Aitken goalkeeping. Personally, I disagree with the good season when we finished second place. The football we played was horrific. I actually fell asleep during a few games. Also, thoughts on the yeah. I do agree with that, but obviously finishing second and win the Europa League as well, it was a trophy that we hadn't won yet. So I would still call that a successful season, regardless of if we play boring football or not. I know it was like a lot of 1-0, 2-1 wins, but we were successful in that season to an extent. Man City were just head and shoulders above everyone. And obviously once City, we would have taken City out, would have won the title. But yeah, I do agree with what you said, as in I'm enjoying watching us now, though, as a team than what I did when we came second in that year, because we're playing a lot more at the moment anyway, because we're playing a lot more exciting football. We've got better players in the squad. We've got some good young talent coming through. Greenwood, hopefully Chong get more of a go. I don't know about Gomez. He looks like he's gone, but it's not 100% official gone. And like your Garners as well coming through as well. He hasn't played a lot, but he's still coming through. And then like Rashford's still young, Martial's still young, Bruno's still young-ish, but he's in his prime. Pogba's still youngish in his prime. Wan-Bissaka's young. Shaw is like young-ish, but in his prime, like 24, 25, whatever. But we've got a good foundation of players coming through. And in terms of my thoughts on De Gea, I still think he's very, very good. I still don't think we should be getting rid of him anytime soon. Maybe at the end of this, I reckon what the smart decision would be at the end of his current contract, I would obviously bring. I think he's got. I can't remember how many years he got. Is it 4 more years? I think didn't he sign like a 5-year contract? He's got like 4 years or 3 years left or something. I don't know. But I think when he finishes, it would be a good point to weigh up. Do we sell De Gea back to Spain? Let him go back home. and bring Dean Henderson in, who is looking very, very good for Sheffield. But in terms of my thoughts today right now, I haven't got a problem with him. I know that he's made a mistake here or there, but the goalkeepers do make mistakes here and there. That's just part of football, really. Coming from someone that's never played a game of football in his life, but I just think that he's still one of the best keepers in the world. He's still up there with your Odd Blacks and your Allisons and your ter Stegens and Edisons and keepers like that. And I would rather De Gea over all them at Manchester United anyway, because he's been a keeper here for so long and he's won us some games off of his own feet and hands. So I still don't have a problem with him. Ryan, how you doing, man? James, end product clearly not as good as Greenwood when came on. Yeah. Greenwood, I've never seen a guy that's got as good of a left foot as a right foot. It's just he's insane. Both feet are just very, very good and high end. So very excited that he is at Manchester United and he's got a great future coming. He's only 18 as well. There was a stat that I know Sport Bowl put up on Instagram that he has scored the most Premier League goals for a player under the age of 18 since Wayne Rooney did for Everton when he scored 9 goals for them in way back in the day. And the funny thing, I think it's 02, 03 or somewhere, 03 or 04, somewhere like a long time ago, a while ago now. So it felt like that long ago, but it is. It's still 15. It's still 16 years, 17 years. I don't know. It's late. It's early for me. Well, late for me. So maths isn't great, but yeah, he's looking like the real deal. Mason Greenwood is. And the thing is, Rooney started a lot. That's what I was going to say. Rooney started a lot of those games as well for Everton back then, whereas Greenwood has done a lot of his goals off the bench. He hasn't started a heap of games for us this season. It's been under 10 games this season he started. So, and he's doing this. It's crazy to think that of what the potential he's got in the future. But yeah. But you saw as well, James, that a couple of his shots just didn't quite hit the mark and didn't quite have that sort of finesse that obviously that Greenwood possesses. Cammy Aiken goalkeeping, totally agree, Ryan. Yep, there you go. I agree with Ryan as well. So there you go. I think we should keep Henderson next season and compete with first position. As a goalkeeper myself, it's hard seeing his performances, but I think with competition on the number one, he becomes more consistent. Yeah, I do. So as I mentioned, obviously with the competition for places with that, but I think that because Dean Henderson's still young, he's playing for Sheffield United, who are still going to be in the Premier League. I think it's good for him to go out to a Sheffield United, or if it's not Sheffield United, another team, and just continue to get more and more experience. And then when he starts for us, he's got 4, 5, 6 years experience at Premier League level. And I think Romero's done nothing wrong. Obviously, he made the mistake on the weekend that let Norwich's goal in, but he's been very, very solid for us when he's been called upon. I know that a lot of the competition he's faced hasn't been as good, but again, what they say, you can only perform with the opposition that's put in front of you. So, and I think he's been very solid as well. But yeah, I do agree with that. If you did have Henderson, it would create a lot of competition for spots, and then it would just naturally increase performance on that. But I just think it's probably a little bit of a waste for Dean Henderson's career at the moment. I think that he will be Manchester United's keeper in the future when De Gea leaves, but we'll see what happens. Good point, but I think Ryan. Good point, but I think Romero adds competition already. Though, yeah. So that's literally just what I said. There you go. And then coming out can goalkeeper. Romero is the best back-up goalkeeper in the Premier League, but I didn't see him as competition to De Gea. Yeah, I do think he's the best backup goalkeeper in the Premier League. I do agree with. I don't see him as competition for De Gea, but I think he's a very, very good backup for when if De Gea was ever. And touch wood, hopefully not. If De Gea was ever to go down injured, I think it'd be a very good replacement to come in and perform at a high level. I think Henderson's better. So if I was ranking in order, obviously you'd go De Gea, Henderson, and Romero. But I just think it is a bit of a waste having Romero on the bench and then have not on the bench in the reserves and then having Dean Henderson on the bench. I think it's better for Dean Henderson's career to United. And then when he comes back to us, he's had a lot of experience. And he comes in and he's not. Oh, your connection is unstable. Let's have a look if it reconnects. There we go. Sorry about that. Just said it. Just disconnecting and reconnected. What what was I saying? Now I've lost track of thought. Oh, that's what I was saying. But yeah, I think it's a lot better for him to go to Sheffield United and get experience, because when he comes back, he's played all this football. He's not been sitting on the bench. So that's how I see it anyway. But again, what do I know? I'm just a Manchester United fan from Australia that's never played a game of football in his life. But there you go. So anyway, that will be the end of the review. I did go a bit longer than what I thought I was going to, but if you did tune in live, thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate all the support you guys give me when you tune in live, or if you watch it watch it after it goes up on the channel. But make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Kelly ruining the outro as usual, my dog. But make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Getting ever close to 250 subscribers. So please help me reach that goal. But I appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me so far. Make sure you like the video if you did enjoy. Turn notifications on so you don't miss when I go live after a Manchester United game. I will be uploading some more NFL player highlight videos, which I did a few months ago. They'll be back on the channel again in the next couple of weeks. And I'll be continuing to do these match reviews and churning out these videos that hopefully you guys enjoy. So, and again, follow my social media links are all in the description: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. They're all in the description below. So make sure you go. I don't know if my TikTok's there, but I'll add it at some point. So make sure you follow them, and I will see you guys all in the next video. I'm out. Cheers.